So how long do you need to test a Facebook ad for it to be an effective test? This is something that we've seen hundreds of times now in the comments, students asking me this. How long should you test a Facebook ad for? Now, the real answer is it's complicated. So let me dive into a couple scenarios. Scenario number one is, hey, we launch the Facebook ad, we let it run for say 24 hours, we don't see any purchases, we turn it off. That's typically what I see amongst a lot of dropshippers and people who are just getting into Facebook ads. And the problem of only running it for 24 hours is that it doesn't give enough time for it to optimize. Then after it optimizes, that's really when you start to see a decrease in your cost per purchase, your cost per result. But then the other question is, how long does a Facebook ad take to optimize? I personally see about 3 days. So if we want to test the Facebook ads, we needed to let it run for at least 3 days for us to get any effective data. Now, the other thing is that Facebook has cycles. And for us, a cycle is like, for example, the traffic you get on the weekend is a lot different than the traffic you get maybe Wednesday or Friday night or Monday night, right? I typically see Friday night a very bad day for some brands, whereas I see Wednesday, very well-known bad day for a lot of people, to be really good for some of our brands. And depending on your demographic and depending on who your ideal customer is, this will change a lot. I've seen some brands crush it on the weekends and suck during the week, and some brands crush it during the week and suck during the weekends. So personally for me, I like to see at least 7 days of an ad being tested. Now, the second aspect is, okay, if you test it for 7 days and you are running it from our perspective of running a DCT, if it earns spin and improves overall business performance, then great. Like that's good. Like that's how you should do it. The other old way, I guess you could say, is running forced spin to it. So you create a separate campaign for testing, you're running like an ABO, and you will force a certain level of spin to it. And then that way is like, hey, you should at least get about 2x to 1x your AOV in spin to see if it's profitable or not. So I personally don't do that way anymore. I like to look at it from my perspective now, which my perspective goes into the 7 days worth of data. Now, 7 days worth of data, I'll look at the first 3 days. After the first 3 days, if it got literally no spin for a couple of days, I'm pretty much just killing that ad. Why? Because it's not a good ad. Every time I've seen a great ad, it takes off within 48 hours. And after 3 days, it's still barely earning any spin. Likelihood it's not gonna be a good performer. Now, the other scenario I'll see is where 3 days go by and like day 1 gets a little spin, then day 2 gets a little bit more spin, then day 3 gets even a little bit more spin, and it's steadily progressing in spin on a day-to-day basis. And then I'll give it a full 7 days in that scenario right there. Now, the other scenario is after that 7 days, what impact did it do on performance? Did performance increase on that 7-day average or did performance decrease? If performance decreased and we're seeing a bad cost per result on that particular ad set, that creative, then I'm looking at turning off that particular ad. If we launch an ad and within 24 hours it takes overall spin and just completely destroys the account, like overall performance starts sucking really bad, then all I'm gonna do is simply turn that off within a 24-hour basis. But I wanted to make sure it gets a large enough amount of spin to where it can be significantly, statistically impactful to the account itself. There was this one particular time we're working with this client, and this particular client, we launched this new set of creatives, and these new set of creatives, we're already dealing with a product that was like people really didn't like it, and people just decided to start destroying this product in the comments, and it got so many negative comments. Facebook prioritized that ad because Facebook was seeing a lot of people were sharing it, commenting on it, but Facebook doesn't understand the difference between negative or positive, in terms of what the general senses of the comments are. And this particular ad took off and was hurting performance really bad, and within 24 hours we turned it off because it was statistically significant amount of spin, and we turned it off because it was negatively impacting performance. Now, in other scenarios where if you've been on the channel long enough, you've seen the Girls Night ad, you've seen us doing the Gifting Sweetheart ad, you've seen other examples like the the one that's for the lotion downstairs ads right there. We've all seen those take off within 24 hours, earn significant amounts of spin, and positively impacted performance. Now, what does positively impact performance mean? This means we can start to spend more inside of the ad account because CPA dropped. Overall CPA started to drop because this ad is getting all the spin. When this ad's getting all the spin and CPA is dropping, we can start to spend more. That's an impact in performance. Now, if it takes overall spin and CPA rises, well then guess what? It's negatively impacting performance. We're less profitable, then we can start turning it off. So this is, the hard answer of how long should you test an ad for, because to be fair, it's not always like A and B and C. Another great example is going back to the 1x your AOV or 3x your target CPA of letting an ad spin. The problem with hard rules is like, hey, maybe you're spending like $10,000 a day, for example, and by like 8 a.m., you already spent a third of that budget. It's about $3,000. If you judge an ad purely based off 1x AOV without taking time into consideration, you may have already spent that on that ad during a bad sales period of time. So turning it off would just be way too premature for that ad right there. And we've prematurely turned off great ads before, and then when we relaunched them and gave it more period of time, they've actually excelled in terms of performance. So how long should you test an ad for? These are a couple different scenarios. I know it's not the exact answer you're looking for, but this is what we follow when we're looking at overall, how long should we test an ad for? And the biggest thing is, how is overall performance being? That's number one. And number two, are we waiting at least 3 to 7 days for it to create statistical impact? And then if it does start taking a crazy amount of spin really early on and just completely destroys performance, then I'm just looking at turning that off. But it has to take overall spin and has to be running for at least 24 hours before I turn it off, just because I want to give it a little time to optimize. I don't want to cut it too early in the day. So hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you're interested in me running your Facebook ads, we specifically help brands that are doing at least $100,000 a month in revenue scale to multiple 7 figures a month. We've helped 4 brands now and love to help you become the next one. Click link below to have Nick Theriot run your Facebook ads. If you want one-on-one coaching with me where I review your ads, review your ad account, give you strategic business advice to help your business grow, click link below to have Nick Theriot mentor you. And then if you want my Facebook ads course with my step-by-step process to create Facebook ads that convert, click link below to my Facebook ads course. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a good rest of y'all day. Take care. Peace.